This is a SandyBoy Productions podcast.
Welcome to Finish Lines and Milestones, a podcast for everyday runners. I'm your host, Allie Bretnacher, and if you run, you're a runner, and every runner has a story. Join me each week as we celebrate these stories and we cross finish lines and celebrate big milestones together. This week's episode is brought to you by our friends at Previnex. Previnex provides clinically effective supplements that promote longevity, performance, and everyday health. The product that I use most from Previnex is their Gut and Green Superfoods, and I'm embarrassed to admit I forgot to bring it. On my trip, I'm currently in Montreal for fall break, and I miss it so much. It provides natural energy, which I find my body craves, and it helps with immunity and, again, everyday health. So if you are looking to try a green or you want to replace what you already use, you can use code ALLY15, A-L-L-Y 15, for 15% off your first order, and that's at Previnex.com, Previnex.com. They are also proud partners of the live event that's coming up at the C&O Financial Indianapolis Monumental Marathon on November 8th. My friend Lindsay Hine, who is the founder of SandyBoy Productions, she will be interviewing the one and only Emily Infeld, and Emily uses Previnex, if you didn't know that already. So if it's good enough for Emily Infeld, my goodness. So if you're local to Indianapolis, make sure you go get your tickets. We've already sold 20. We only have 100 available. So that was the first day. I'm a little nervous. So we probably will sell out. So those are linked in the show notes. But thank you so much to Previnex for supporting this upcoming event and for supporting my podcast. And now for this week, it is Chicago Marathon weekend. If you're listening to this when it comes out, Chicago is near and dear to my heart. It was my very first marathon. So the day that this comes out, 10/10, marks 15 years since I ran my very first marathon. So I ran on 10/10/10, which makes it very easy for me to remember. And I've since done Chicago 3 other times, and I love the race. So if you're getting ready to run, I hope you enjoy it. It is a fantastic environment, super flat and fast, but just enjoy it. And for this week's episode, my guest is Paige Foote. She is one of the co-founders of Noogs. That's Noogs, Noogs, an energy chew that you're going to have to try. It does taste like Sour Patch Kids. I was told this by Nicole Lynn of Bar Below Average Running when I first encountered Noogs, and I did not believe her, and I was mistaken. They're delicious. They are sold on Amazon, so go check those out. Or if you want to go to their website, you can use code ALLYB, A-L-L-Y-B 15 for 15% off. They have 3 amazing flavors, and there might be more coming soon. So make sure you go follow Noogs Official on any channel and stay tuned for their future. You're going to want to after you listen to this episode. So I reached out to Paige after I found Noogs, and I had to hear the story. She actually co-founded the business with her husband, Ben, and they now run it together. Pun intended, I guess. But you will see if you follow their branding, they're just such a fun brand, and their product is delicious and high quality. So what more could you ask for? This episode is just unofficially sponsored by Noogs, if you can't tell already. But this story is so much fun, and Paige is such a delight. She created this product when she couldn't find a fuel she really loved. And she did that after she had done her first marathon, which was a virtual New York City marathon. That's a crazy story. And then she was training for the in-person New York City Marathon, and that's when Noogs was born. So we talk about her own personal running journey. We talk about the races she's done. Her husband, Ben, is also a veteran, so we talk about his military service, how they found their way into this business, and then really how Paige found running for enjoyment versus for punishment, which I feel like a lot of us might have started in youth sports where running was not fun. So I know you're really going to love getting a chance to meet Paige Foote. Enjoy.
Isn't it awesome?
It is.
It's so
perfect.
on brand.
It is the most on brand.
Do you have a Hydrojug?
I have a Stanley.
Okay. Have you heard of these?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, I'm not getting paid to talk about this, I swear. But the reason I made the switch, obviously, the color wheel. How could I pass this up?
Yeah.
But the straw, you can bend it and then throw it in like your bags.
Yeah, I need that because I hate my Stanley, if I'm being honest, because I love it because it keeps my water. But if I take it anywhere, if it falls over, I'm so annoyed. So I
Mhm.
can't believe the colors on that. Did you get to make it, or did you literally just find those colors together?
I just found it.
It's meant to be.
You should
Meant
get
to
a
be.
matching one. We could be twins.
Yeah, it'd be so fun. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with your brand. Obviously, that's how this got started. I met Nicole Lynn from Below Average Running in
Uh-huh.
Vegas in February,
Mhm.
and she was handing out samples of Noogs, and she was like, "Oh, these taste just like, sour candy." I'm like, "Okay." And then she handed them out, and I think I ate the whole thing on our like 3 mile run because I just loved them so much. And I was like, well, it's just
Yeah.
a sample, I'm gonna just keep snacking on these, but they're delicious. And I just started following along with your brand, and then realized that you co-founded it with your husband. And I'm like, okay, I've got to
Mhm.
meet Paige. I've got to meet Paige. I've got to hear the story, and we have to be friends because I just love everything about what you're doing.
Thank you so much. That's so nice of you to say. It's still so surreal every time like anybody has nice things to say about nudes. I can't believe it. I can't believe like I'm podcasting right now. This is so cool.
Oh, it's right. And this started you officially launched the brand in 23. But after a
Yes.
long time, it took for like what probably felt like forever for you to fine tune everything and get it out there.
Oh yeah. That's what I always tell people who are interested in like CPG products or consumer packaged goods is whatever time you're estimating it's going to take to do something, multiply it by 6 because oh my gosh, at least you'll improve your patience though. I feel like that's a strength that I've improved on.
Yeah, there you go. And we could all use
Yeah.
more of that. That's for sure. Before we dig in and talk all things Noogs, because we will, I want to get to know you as the human behind this brand first. So
Mm.
currently you live in Virginia Beach, but where are you from?
So I actually live in Charlottesville, Virginia,
Oh, you live in
which is
Charlottesville.
more central.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, and which has been great because we get a lot of support from the UVA community, University of Virginia. My husband actually just graduated with his MBA from there. But yeah, before that, my husband and I are actually both from Salem, Oregon. So grew up on the
Okay.
West Coast. Yeah.
And how did you meet Ben?
We met in high school. We're high school sweethearts. So tomorrow is actually our 9-year wedding anniversary. And
Oh,
we've been together as a couple for almost 15 years. It'll be like 15 years in October. So
wow. Oh my gosh, as if I couldn't love you guys more. Your high school sweethearts. Of course you are. So you and your
yeah.
jumpsuits. I'm dying. Okay. So we'll get there. Okay, so you meet in
Okay.
high school. Are you in high school? What's your life like? Are you an athlete? Do you have siblings? What's your family like?
Yeah. In high school, I was a soccer player and I was also a choir kid. I was actually choir president my senior year of high school. And
Oh
I loved it. It
gosh.
was so fun, a part of my like high school experience. I would do it over again if I could.
My kid has her first choir practice today for the Indianapolis Children's Choir. Not even kidding. So she's really excited about that.
Does she know? Is she like an alto, a soprano, or are they
Um,
doing that yet?
I don't know yet. I think she'll be more of a soprano if I had to guess, just
Mhm.
knowing me, like if she gets anything from me. I was in the
Mhm.
church choir growing up, but I wouldn't classify myself as a choir kid, but
Okay.
I like singing karaoke.
Oh, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Cowboy Take Me Away or Hold On by Wilson Phillips.
Oh, those are good.
What
I
about
might have
you?
to steal the Take Me Away one.
It's a good one.
Um, it's funny, like, so yeah, definitely a choir kid. I don't do a lot of karaoke. Like, I don't think okay, actually, I take that back. I did, there was a Taylor Swift karaoke night at like one of the local bars here. So I did do a Taylor Swift song, but that was such a like insane experience because I think I was like not even 30 at the time, but I felt so old.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
walking out there who's considering doing karaoke at a bar that's really close to a university campus, just prepare to feel like ancient if you do that.
Yeah.
It was a great time, The Taylor Swift united us all, and we had a great time.
Which song did you sing? I feel like Taylor Swift songs are hard to sing.
They are, yeah. I did it with 2 friends. We did like a little trio of I think it was like "You Belong with Me,"
Oh,
and I
perfect.
just remember like, so out of breath because jumping around and man, I'm a marathoner and I can't even like sing this song all the way straight through. So
Oh.
fun.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
funny. Okay. So choir kid, soccer. Yeah. So that's right. Running as a punishment. That's how I started
Yeah.
as well. Okay.
That's just many of us. Yeah.
Mm. And did you and Ben go to the same college?
So no, we went to the same high school and then we did long distance for quite a few years. Ben went to school in Texas and I went to school in California. And then funny
Wow.
story, our first year of marriage was actually kind of long distance. Like he was in Los Angeles and I was finishing up school in San Diego. So I would come up on the weekends, but first year of marriage was a little bit long distance too.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like I know if we have kids someday, if they ever are like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna marry my high school boyfriend and we're gonna go to separate colleges, I just want to be like, listen, this doesn't happen for everyone. This is a very rare instance, but it just happened to work out for us. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right. Yeah.
yeah,
What an anomaly. Because high school, even, I just think about that when I meet people who met their significant other in high school. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. My parents actually are high school sweethearts. So I guess,
no
it's
way.
out there. Yeah. Yep.
So did they tell you the
Uh,
same thing when you were dating in high school?
well, that's for a whole nother podcast, but I didn't date much in high school. I was a rebel and yeah, no, not marriage material. That's for sure. And that makes me
Yeah.
sound pretty bad, but that's not what I meant. So, okay. Did you have siblings growing up? Do you have siblings?
Yes, I do actually. I have a younger sister and we're 8.5 years apart.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. So is she
Yeah.
into
Big
running
gap.
at all?
She's not, and what's funny is she actually just moved in with us this summer. It was kind of this unexpected thing where she just graduated from college, and
Okay.
we travel a lot with Noogs and like going to different events and stuff like that. And so we talked about after she graduated, we're like, hey, you should come and like watch our house for us for a month. We've got some travel coming up. You can watch our dog. And she stayed with us, and we're like, yeah, this is great. Like, you should look for jobs here, and we have a lot of travel coming up. Like, you can have the house a lot to yourself. You
Wow.
can, save some money to like use for rent later on. It's so expensive these days, and it's been so much fun. I haven't lived under the same roof as her since high school, and so it's been fun, like just hanging out again.
Yeah. Wow. Because are your
Yeah.
parents still back in Salem, Oregon on the West
Yes.
Coast?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They were probably like, well, thanks a lot for stealing her and moving her all the way across. Or was she already out of home because of college? Was she in a different state already?
She went to school in Washington, so she was like 3-4 hours away.
Okay. So not too bad. Okay. All right. So
I
you have one
know.
younger sister, 8.5 years. Do you
Yeah.
remember learning that you were going to be a big sister? Because 8.5 is pretty old. You might remember that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember a lot of it. And I remember my mom, telling me I was going to be a big sister. And I remember, actually, I don't remember this part, but she tells me that my response was, oh, well, I want a big sister. Like, I don't want to be the big sister. Why don't I get a big sister? But I definitely like stepped up to the plate and took that role pretty seriously though. So I
That's so
love being a big
cool.
sister. Yeah.
Yeah. My oldest daughter is 8 right now, and I have a 4-year-old, and they
Mhm.
they would love to have a baby. And I'm like, sorry guys. Yeah, we're just 2 for a lot of reasons. But yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, how fun. How fun. And that had to be kind of hard too as an 8.5-year-old, because you're like, I'm the only child. Like now I have to share my parents. Or do you remember caring about that at all?
I don't think that was an issue. I think I was just really excited to help my mom. Like I remember this past weekend we were traveling and there was a family friend who had their like newborn baby, and I remember like turning to my sister and being like, I remember doing like changing your diapers when you were this age, you know.
Yeah, that's so
Oh, and my
cool.
mom, she loves to tell this story. I was like in second grade, maybe going to third grade when she was born. And I was so excited, like about, being a big sister. And like I was learning about pregnancy and watching my mom read, what to expect when expecting. And I just thought the whole thing was so cool. And I like came to my mom one day and I was like, I'm going to do a project called My Fetus. And she's like, I'm so excited you're excited about this. Maybe we should change the title a little bit.
That is really funny. Yeah, your mom's like, that's not gonna work very well.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
You got the
Oh my
right
gosh.
idea, just execution.
Yeah. Well, I love that your sister lives with you now, and your dog's official name is Daisy. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of names. I've seen Chicken Nugget, now obviously
Uh-huh.
Noogs, and it is Noogs
Mhm.
plural, correct? It's not just Noog. It's Noogs, plural?
So her nickname is just Noog.
Okay.
Because her name's Daisy, but she looks like a chicken nugget. And so as many, dog names evolve, we started calling her, oh, you just a little chicken nugget. You just a little chicken nugget. And then that turned into Nugget, which evolved into Nug, and then somehow turned into Noog. And so when we're like, oh yeah, what should the name of our energy chew company be? Like, Noog is fun. Like, let's use that word. And so we just made it plural because there's like, you're eating Noogs.
I love it.
Little
I love
chews.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I asked that too because my cousin has a dog named Noodles, plural, which I just find it's kind of confusing because you're like, well, shouldn't she just be a noodle? Because but Waffles, there's all kinds of crazy dog names these days.
Yeah.
What kind of dog is she and how old is she?
She is a miniature golden doodle and she just turned 5 in May. She's a pandemic pup.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's an easy way to
sweet.
remember.
Yeah. We have an old man, Doug. He's laying, well, you can kind of see him. No, he blends in with the carpet, but he's 11 and he's a standard golden doodle, but he's the runt of his litter. So he's not that big, but so much fun. I love doodles so much. They're the best. Yeah.
She's a really good sidekick, and she definitely comes to a lot of expos with us too when we stay in Airbnbs.
I love that.
She's like
I love that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's perfect. Well, I'm sure
Doug
people now recognize her.
Yeah. I wish she could come to the expo halls. We haven't had the opportunity to bring her there yet, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, I'm sure there's hoops to jump through for that. I'm sure if she's not like a service dog or whatever. Rules.
Right. Yeah. Boo.
Boo. You said something about Doug.
I was just saying that's a great name.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
It makes me think of Doug from Up, the movie.
Exactly where we got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yep.
You guys have great taste.
Thank you. Yep. We have also, fun fact, not that you asked, but our mailman's name is Doug, and so is our bus driver. So we have a dog named Doug, a mailman named Doug, and a bus driver named Doug. So it's very special in our life. I don't know. It's so weird.
And you feel like his personality matches the Doug from Pixar, the Pixar movie?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, the energy of a golden doodle knows no bounds. He's 11, but you would not know. People who meet him are like, what? He's 11? How is that possible? So I'm hoping he lives forever.
Does he have a fascination with squirrels?
Oh yeah. Squirrel. Exactly. When we first had him, we lived in a place with a lot more trees than we have now. And it was constant battle. Yeah. Well, I wanted to get to know more about Ben too, because he's a veteran, which is, I mean, you guys are just so cool. So he went to school. Did you know earlier on in your relationship that serving in the military was something that Ben wanted to do and like that he aspired to do?
Yeah. He went to school and he was in the ROTC program, right? Okay. So when you graduate with that, you become an officer in the military. So he joined the Air Force after that. And it was always the plan that he was going to join the military. He's definitely influenced by his family. What's really cool is both his mom and dad were in the Army. Wow. They retired. They were in for over 20 years, each of them. And his mom is so cool. She's so badass. She's one of the first, I'm going to totally burst into this. His parents are older. They had him when they were in their 40s. So she was in the military in like the 70s. And she was like one of the first military female officers to like lead male and female. I can't remember, but like she was definitely a trailblazer in many ways.
Yeah.
With her. Yeah.
That's so cool. And is your family like a military family at all?
Yeah. My dad was in the Navy. So what's funny is you were talking about living in Virginia Beach. I was actually born in Virginia Beach.
Okay. I was like, where did I get that? I don't know where I got that, but yeah, maybe you said that and I just took that to mean that that's where you are now in Virginia and I got confused. I don't know, but that's really cool. I asked that because I find it so fascinating. I've interviewed a couple of, I think both were women on this podcast that are, that have been home while their husband is deployed and, just thinking about how difficult that would be. And for you and Ben, like you said, your first year of marriage was apart. Like you guys figured that out. Was he ever deployed for the Air Force?
No, thankfully not. And to be honest, he had a very comfortable job, which we're like super thankful for. He was in acquisitions. So it was kind of more like the businessy side and the program management side. Yeah. But what is kind of cool about his experience is he ended up joining the Space Force in
Oh,
2021 or 2022, I think, which is really fun to tell people because they don't believe him sometimes that it's a real branch of service.
yeah. It doesn't sound
Yeah.
real. So no offense, Ben.
I know. We give him so much flack for it. It's really funny. But yeah, it's funny because he actually was basically doing a Space Force job before the Space Force existed. Because at the time in Los Angeles, the LA Air Force Base, where we were first stationed, they did a lot of stuff with like satellites, right? And so that's basically what like the Space Force does now. And I don't think the Air Force Base is even an Air Force Base anymore. I'm pretty sure it's a Space Force base. So he was doing basically a Space Force job in the Air Force, and then we moved to Charlottesville. That's where we were stationed next. And he joined the Space Force, but like was doing an Air Force job. So
Oh my gosh. It's so wild.
flip flops. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, meanwhile, is he getting his MBA as well? Like, how does that fit in?
Yeah. So he served for like 7 years and then left and then started his MBA program.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
So was entrepreneurship something that you grew up with? Like, did you or Ben, like, did you both aspire to someday do your own thing, or did it truly kind of just happen by accident because there was something that, you couldn't find and just made? What was that journey to becoming an entrepreneur like?
I think for Ben, it's definitely always something he thought about. Even though he did the ROTC program and like knew he was going to get out of college and join the military, his major was entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So that was always something in the back of his mind. And even while he was in the military, like he started an entrepreneurship club at the Air Force Base where him and a bunch of like his coworkers and fellow servicemen would meet up and talk about ideas and stuff. So for him, that was always something he was thinking about. Even when he was a little boy, he like tells stories of starting like a fan business on the playground. Like they'd make paper fans and,
Perfect.
charge people $1 for them. So yeah, he's always been a little entrepreneur. And then I don't think I even knew what the word entrepreneur meant until like I met Ben. I think like I've always had the spirit in me, like maybe, like leadership. Like I was prior president, like we talked about, and I've always like been very interested, and maybe this is like the big sister in me too, right? But like, taking ownership of things or like doing these projects and having a vision and seeing it come to fruition. So I don't think at the time I knew what that meant, but yeah, I think for both of us, there was a spirit at least within growing up.
It was just waiting. It was waiting for the right thing. I think I saw somewhere that you had started an app before Noogs. Is that true?
Yes.
And it has been dabbled in anything else? Because I know, a lot of times it's not your first thing that's successful. So
Totally. Yeah. The app we started was, and the idea partially came from like, hey, we're in the military. We might be moving around a lot. Like, who knows what getting a job will be like wherever we go next. So like, let's kind of have something that we can do on the side to supplement our income in case something like that happens. And it was Ben's idea to start the app because he's like, hey, you're a dietitian. You give, great nutrition advice. I think at the time I was also a personal trainer.
Oh, wow.
And then, because I wanted to become a personal trainer because I was like getting really into lifting, and I was like, oh, this would be cool to get my certification just so I like, just because I'm curious mostly, like I want to know more. And then I ended up getting that certification. But what's really interesting is if you become a personal trainer, you can take the exam without ever having to step in a gym. Like you can just go sit for the exam. And so I was like, well, I have all the textbook knowledge in my brain now that I've passed the exam, but I want some like real world application. So I ended up working at Equinox in Los Angeles
Ooh, fancy.
Yes, very fancy. So many interesting stories from working in that gym.
Oh
too.
yeah, we're gonna need some of those too.
I'll give you a quick one right now. I did hand Josh Peck from the Nickelodeon Brothers TV show, Drake and Josh.
Yeah. Okay.
So I, handed him a couple of scented towels a few times. But yeah, back to the personal training. Yeah, so basically I had experience in nutrition. I had experience in, helping people with exercise. And sometimes like, oh, what if you make an app where you can give people nutrition and like fitness content in one place. And then somewhere along there, I ended up getting my running coach certification because same thing. I was like, oh, I'm interested in running. I want to like learn how to be a better runner. And then we were like, yeah, we can put some training plans in there. And it ended up like not working out for a couple of reasons, right? Like a lot of your first couple of businesses do. But I think it's a great example of like, looking back where I am now, there's so many things I took from that experience that I apply to running Noogs.
Right.
And it's also like such a testament that I try to, tell people like my younger sister, like, you just follow things that you're interested in, right? Like when I graduated college, I thought I was going to be a dietitian that worked in a hospital. And I never thought I would be slinging energy chews that taste like sour cream
while wearing a neon jumpsuit.
Yes, at Disney World. Yeah, and like looking back, I can see it's like, okay, I was curious about this, and so I pursued this, and then that led me to take this next step here, and then so I always tell younger people like, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do fresh out of college. It's okay if you like have this plan and it doesn't work out and you need to pivot. Like, you just never know where life's going to take you. I'm sure you never thought that you'd be doing a podcast, right?
No, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, it's interesting because I think that there's a lot of people out there who are like, I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 15 years. That's what I knew. I wanted to be a teacher from the moment I was born. And you're like, okay, that's not me. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so kind of similar now anyways, following something that I'm really passionate about and seeing where it takes me. And I'm lucky to be able to do that because my husband has a very good job. But yeah, it's so much fun. So what year was that you had the app?
Oh gosh, pre-COVID.
Okay.
18, 19 maybe.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the landscape at the time, right? Because you think now you've got Runna and Strava together and like all the things. Like the idea was great. That technology, though, I've actually worked in mobile app technology for a number of years, ironically, and it's so hard. It like seems like it should be so easy, but it's really, really difficult, right? As you know, now having been through it. So at what point did you get into the running side of things? Like where you were like, oh, I want to be a personal trainer. Oh, I should be a run coach. I like running. Because you mentioned, being a soccer player, running was punishment. So at what point in your life did you find running again as more of an enjoyment thing instead of punishment?
So in high school really didn't enjoy running. It was punishment for soccer, and I was like the worst runner on my team. So a lot of, trauma and embarrassment associated with that.
Yeah.
And I use the word trauma lightly. It was just awful.
No, I get it. Yeah.
And then when I went to college, running became less painful and more enjoyable for me because, like I mentioned earlier, I went to school in California. Really lucky to go to a campus that was just right on the coast. And so I would, like go for runs after class or sometimes in the morning as just a way to kind of move again because I wasn't on the soccer team anymore. It's like, oh, I got to kind of find a way to stay active. So I'd go for runs, and I realized that it was so much more than, staying physically fit. It was like such a nice stress relief for me, and endorphins were so wonderful. And it's hard not to feel them when you're, running along the Pacific coast in San Diego. So yeah, that was when I was like, oh wow, this is really nice. Maybe running isn't so bad after all. But then I really, started considering myself a quote unquote runner and like starting to train for races and things like that after I got married and moved to Los Angeles with Ben because, I'd graduated college. I was going to start my dietetic internship because I'm also a dietitian. I don't know if I mentioned that. Yeah, my dietetic internship in the fall. And so that summer I had a lot of free time. And so I just started running more and was like, wow, this is so great. Oh, wow, I'm like doing more than a 5K. Like, let's kind of see how far I can go. And then I also didn't have a lot of friends at the time either in this like, new city. And we started going to this church and we were like kind of starting to get to know people there. And I think I mentioned one point that I was like enjoying running more. And one of the girls that went there was like, oh, hey, we do this like fundraiser where if you raise money for a charity, the Los Angeles Marathon has a special half marathon that's only for charity runners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think they still do it. I like checked recently. It might only be a marathon now, but at the time, yeah, you could do literally just like at the 13.1 mile mark, they had a special little finish line for charity runners.
Wow.
Yeah, so she invited me to do that, and I really liked that we were given a training program, like just like piece of paper, and then you could do your workouts on your own throughout the week. But then on Saturdays, there was a group long run, and it was from other people, like other churches in the area. So it was kind of like a big group of people. And I liked that we would start and end in one place. And then, every week you'd like go a little bit further or wherever your training plan was, but you'd always end it back at the same place. And it was so nice because, people would hang out before and after, and you could talk and meet people. And it was just such a great way for me to like, feel less isolated in this new city.
Mm.
And so when it ended, I was really bummed, and I was like, wow, like I want to keep doing this. I, just ran my first half marathon. Like, let's see what's next. And oh wow, this was a great way for me to meet people. Let me like look at running clubs in my area. And so, joined a running club, and then basically the rest is history. I never stopped running since then.
And then you were hooked.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What was the running club that you joined?
Oh, it was called South Bay Runners Club. So if anyone listening is in the Los Angeles area, specifically the South Bay, definitely recommend that one. And I always tell people that one was really special because I feel like they were ahead of their time, because this is like 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. In the fact that they were truly welcoming for all types of runners, particularly their Tuesday track nights. They would have different tiers of like the workouts that you could do, like people who are qualifying for Boston, all the way down to like, this is our walking program or our run walk program. And it was all on a track too, so like nobody was getting dropped. We were starting the workouts together, ending them together. Like you just felt like you were a part of a team. And I am still in their Facebook group, even though I haven't lived in Los Angeles since 2020.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they're so great.
Yeah.
So,
I love that so much. And that's part of the reason I was so drawn to Nicole too, again, from Bar, which is below average running. And because I just thought, wow, you're right. Like a lot of run clubs don't do that. Or it's like, a running club that just likes to party, right? Or, there's just so many different kinds of running clubs. And I've actually personally never been part of a running club, which is kind of weird. When I tell people that, they're like, how? But I totally get the idea that going to one that includes everybody and like makes everybody feel welcome. There's just something really, really special about that. So that's really cool. Is there a running club in Charlottesville that you're a part of now?
So the running club that it's not technically a running club, but it's kind of a similar, place to find community, is our local running store. The owner, he's basically the heart and soul of running in Charlottesville. His name's Mark. And if you're from the area, Ragged Mountain, it's like it's right by the university. So everybody goes there to get their shoes. But yeah, he is just so passionate about what he does. And he coaches like a track program that runs throughout the year, but then he also does various training programs throughout the year too. So the one that I participated in was a half marathon and marathon summer training program, which is actually kind of a similar idea where you get a program that you follow throughout the week on your own, but then on, I think if it was Saturdays or Sundays, that's when you would meet with a group of people to do your long runs. And it's so funny. I'm not doing the program this year, but I'm still on the email list. So I get his emails that he sends out to people. And it's just so funny. He's so old school. He will send out emails, but then when he sends out workouts, instead of typing it up or putting it in an online program, it's just a screen or like a picture, an iPhone photo of a handwritten workout that he sends to
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's so great. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, that's great. That's nice that you've got somebody like him in your community. I don't know anything about Charlottesville, like how big it is. I don't know where it is. I'll Google where it is after this because I don't know. You said it was more centralized in Virginia. Yeah, okay. And it's by the university. That's what you said earlier. Okay. I remember what I wanted to ask you that I didn't ask you before. And that was about studying to be a dietitian. Like what drew you to that?
Oh, wow. This is such a good question. So I didn't know what a dietitian was until my senior year of high school, which I think is so different now because everybody knows what a dietitian is, especially thanks to social media, right? Or maybe just because I'm in that world, I see.
Or
more.
maybe they think they do because I don't know that I truly understand exactly. So yeah.
Oh, okay. No, sorry to assume. Yeah, so I didn't know what a dietitian was until my senior year of high school. And at the time, I knew that I was really interested in science and healthcare, but I didn't want to, be a doctor. I didn't want to be a nurse. And that's kind of like all I knew for like career, right? Like now I know there's like a whole world. Like you can go into so many different specialties.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, okay, like what's something that I could do that's maybe like related to healthcare? I'm also a soccer player, so I was kind of interested in sports nutrition. I think like Pinterest was kind of a thing then too. So I was like on Pinterest and I was seeing, stuff about nutrition on there. So I was like, oh, this nutrition stuff's kind of cool. And my aunt had a friend who was a dietitian at a children's hospital up in Portland, Oregon. And I actually just recently had the opportunity to tour that hospital because my school did like a fundraiser for the children's hospital. So as part of that, you got to go tour and see. I'm like, wow, this place is so cool. Like, I really like this environment. It'd be cool for me to find a space to work here somehow, but I don't know in what capacity. And so my aunt was like, oh, hey, I know one of my friends is a dietitian at this hospital, and she would be more than happy to meet with you and just talk about what she does. And so we met for coffee, and she's telling me how she gets to help kids, like, get healthy, treat disease, things like that, and, change lives. And I thought that was so cool. And thankfully, the school I was looking at the time had a dietetics programs because not all universities do, or they didn't at the time. And so I, toured the school, learned more about the program, and I was like, okay, wow, I think I can see myself doing something like this. And then, started taking classes in the following fall.
Wow. And now just think, like, it's so crazy how that weaves into what you're doing now,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I didn't realize that you were a dietitian until I did a little bit more digging, and I was like, oh, well, that's really cool too, to say, like, obviously you don't get a product to where yours is today without just like throwing it together anyway. But I think having that dietetics background had to be super beneficial when you were working to create Noogs.
Totally. And what's actually kind of funny is this type of career wasn't something I learned about in school. There's very traditional career paths for dietitians, right? Like you can work in the clinical system, right? You can work for hospitals, or you can work for school districts. You can work in food service settings. You can work in we did some food science classes, which I think is kind of most related to what I do now. But even things like sports performance, that was the field I was in actually before Noogs started. There wasn't a lot of I didn't take any sports nutrition classes or making your own sports nutrition product, things like that. So what was cool actually is a couple months ago, I got to speak at my old university and speak to the food science class and tell them what it was like developing a product and, being a business owner.
Wow.
And like that. Yeah.
That's so incredible to be able to give them that gift of like, hey, this is another option for you that you didn't understand was even possible when you were in their shoes. That's cool.
Totally. Yeah.
That's really cool. So before we dig in on Noogs more, because I just want the whole story.
Sure.
I want to hear about your first marathon, which I just recently listened to on the My First Marathon podcast, and it was so good. So I can't believe what happened to you for your first marathon. So will you tell people like when you decided you were ready to tackle a full marathon, and then the process like leading up to it, and then tell us about your first marathon?
Sure. And you're talking about the virtual marathon, right?
Yep. That's so crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, so, I talked about running my first half marathon and, finding a running club after that and being hooked. But I didn't run my first marathon until a couple of years later in 2020. And I, was one of those runners that was like, oh, I'm never going to do a marathon. I cannot imagine, I just did 13.1 miles. I can't imagine running any more than that. But I think as time progressed and I listened to more stories of people running marathons, and I saw more people in my running club do it, and I was like, okay, maybe this is something I could do. And then I was a really big fan of the Allie on the Run podcast at the time, and still am today. But if you ever listen to her podcast, she's awesome. If you ever listen to her podcast, she is like a huge spokesperson for the New York City Marathon, and she just made it sound like the best experience ever. And so I was like, oh, not knowing really anything about the marathon, I was like, I'll put my name in the lottery and we'll see what happens. And yeah, I actually found out I got accepted the weekend I finished my first run Disney marathon, which was the Princess Half in February of 2020. So got that email. I was literally in Epcot after the race, and it was such a surreal moment. My friend took a picture of me, like, just looking at the email and being so excited. And I remember calling my family, telling them I was going to run a marathon. But yes, this was February 2020, and so we all know what happened a few weeks later. And I think I started training, or I'm not like officially training, but just like, okay, I'm maintaining my baseline until things really ramp up. So, we're going through 2020. Obviously, we're in lockdown, but I had all the time in the world to train. So I was working really hard, with like my workouts and with running. And then at some point they announced, New York Roadrunners announced that the marathon was going to be canceled, or not canceled, but like it wasn't going to happen this year, which was a really big bummer. They did give us an option to do a virtual marathon though. And yeah, I had nothing better to do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do the dang thing, and continued training for it. Decided, yeah, the marathon was, or the virtual marathon you could do within a window, right? Like it was like late October through like mid-November. I think you could pick any day to run it. So I was like, okay, I think I picked like the original date it was supposed to be on to run. I'm like, okay, this is my date. And yeah, training was pretty straightforward. Didn't have a lot of ups and downs, except there was this one instance which made me decide not to do my marathon along, like kind of just like out in public, I guess, or along the beach. Most of my runs and long runs I did along the Strand. And if you're in Los Angeles or you've been, you might be familiar with it. It's basically this like paved path that goes right along the coast, and it's so beautiful. You can just look to the side and see the ocean, and it's pretty flat. And so I do a lot of runs there. But yeah, it's a public area. There's a lot of people hanging out at the beach. At some parts, you're also on like a cycling path. And so I was out for one of my long runs leading up to the race, and my butt got smacked by a pack of cyclists. And this isn't like, like, it's basically like really immature guys on bikes. It wasn't like cyclists people do for the sport. It really caught me off guard. It wasn't like a gentle smack either. It like was really painful. It caught me off guard. Like I started crying. I was really embarrassed because there was a lot of people, and it kind of sounds silly, like talking about it.
No, it makes me really mad, actually. Really mad.
Yeah. It was like, oh, they spanked my butt. But yeah, it was way more traumatic than that.
Right.
So yeah, like that made me reconsider where I wanted to do the actual virtual marathon, because I was like, okay, if something like this happens again, I just don't want to be caught off guard like that. Like that ruined the rest of my run. Like I think I finished it, but yeah, just awful. I didn't want to remember my first race that way.
Did it leave a mark?
Yeah.
They go so fast, and if they're like cruising pretty quick, and then I just feel like you were assaulted. I mean, that's assault. Yeah. And people might be like, oh, come on. Like, it's just a little whatever, but it's not, that's such a violation of your space, especially when you're in that long run zone. Like that is your place. And so it pisses me off. So I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I know. And I'm so sorry for any other woman who's had, or any other person, I should say, that's had a similar experience. Yeah. So decided, okay, where should I run my race? Like, what are my options?
Quick break to tell you about my upcoming live podcast event I'm co-hosting with Lindsay Hine, host of the I'll Have Another podcast with Lindsay Hine. It'll be in celebration of the CNO Financial Indianapolis Monumental Marathon on November 8th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. And again, our guest of honor is the Emily Infeld, national champion and U.S. Olympian. If you are local to Indianapolis or running the race, be sure to check out the show notes and get your tickets. And thank you so much to our sponsors, the Bottleworks Hotel, Athletic Annex, Foot Levelers, Athlete Bouquets, and Previnex. Cannot wait to celebrate with everyone. Now, back to the show.
Like, what are my options? Had been doing a couple of runs leading up to this at the Air Force Base, which has it's kind of like a rubberized track that goes around all of the buildings. It just kind of like goes around the base. And that's why it's there. It's there for people to run on. And so I was like, okay, I've run on this track at like 10 p.m. at night before, because I know it was a safe place. There's security guards. yeah, I felt safe. I know there wasn't going to be a lot of people around. I know it's open on the weekends. So I think I'm going to do my race there. And so I also liked that there were bathrooms that I could access close to the track too, right?
Yep.
That's something you might not think about when
Key.
you're planning to run 26 miles. So yeah, I knew that there was going to be bathrooms. I liked that I could also put all of my stuff in one area too, right? Like I could put my hydration and my fuel, and like I think I brought like what's the massage sticks. Like you never know, like, band-aids for things like that. I could just have my own little aid station. So yeah, I put it all, or I decided to do the track because I knew I could have everything I need and it was going to be safe. What's funny though, and what people think is kind of crazy now, is that it was a half-mile loop. And so that was the drawback, right? Is okay, instead of running along a beautiful beach, I'm going to run on an Air Force base and just do a half-mile loop, 50
forever,
like that. Yeah. So kind of crazy, but we were all doing crazy things to stay sane during that time. And what I liked about that, or what I really appreciate New York Road Runners did, is they made an app for you to like use while you were doing the race to kind of like help you track, make sure you're doing the full 26.2 miles. And then I also appreciated that the app would play you sounds from the race that you would be hearing if you were actually running, through the streets of New York. So like at the start line, they'd be like, oh, okay, this is what you would be hearing. Like, this is the music we'd play. I think there's a cannon that goes off that they would play. And it wasn't like throughout the entire race. I think it was kind of like every 5K, they would just like play something, through your little headphones. But it was just nice. And it's a small thing, but I really appreciated how it just like made it feel more real,
Yeah. Well, especially for your first one. Like the idea that your first ever 26.2 was virtual is insane, because running that distance is so hard, so mentally challenging and physically challenging. And you ran it on a half a mile track. Did you have people join you at all? Like, or was Ben out there? What did that look like?
Yeah. So the challenge with that is there were definitely people in my life at the time who would have loved to come out and cheer, but obviously social distancing was still a real thing at the time. Even though it would have been an outside, but I think that was one thing people were cautious of. And then it was an Air Force base. And so, you can't just like walk onto a base. You have to have military ID, or, I think you have to like be a guest or whatever. So it was really Ben that could come in and cheer me on at the time. And he didn't stay for the whole time. I didn't want him to be there for the full, 4+ hours I was running, but he was there. Like, he dropped me off and then he picked me up, and he actually did bring Daisy on the base too to when I finished, which was really special.
That is so nice. Get some kisses, I'm sure, because you're so sweaty.
Oh, she definitely likes to lick the salt off my legs.
Yep. So during that marathon, you fueled with gummy candy as one of your fuels, and like grew to like that as a way to fuel yourself during a race. How did you start doing that, and why?
Yeah. Like during that time, I tried a lot of different options out there for fueling and just didn't love what was available, either from like a taste or texture perspective. I really struggled with gels particularly, and having like a sports performance background, I knew that I needed simple carbohydrates to keep me going. That's what was going to be in those gels. But I also knew that I could get similar nutrition from gummy candy. Obviously it was missing electrolytes, but I knew that it was going to be a source of glucose. And obviously it tasted really good too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got like the Halloween size packets of like Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish and Sour Patch watermelons. Fruit snacks were even thrown in there a few times, I think. And I'm like, okay, this is working for me. I'll have to get my electrolytes from somewhere else. But yeah, I'm just going to use this as my fuel instead.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And I think it's a really popular thing even, now, like you see the Nerds clusters in particular, those are so good. I don't know how people I have not tried to carry them on me for a run because I feel like they would fall apart kind of the outside, but I've definitely had some pre and post run before. So I could totally see too, like where it's something to look forward to as well. You talk about the little things that make a difference. Like that, it's those little things like, okay, after this next lap, I'm going to treat myself to a little watermelon or whatever. So
totally.
Yeah. And so at what point well, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but was it during your training cycle for the 2021 New York City Marathon that you were like, okay, now I really need to make something that I like?
Right. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, did that, finished the virtual race. Thankfully, the actual New York City Marathon was rescheduled the following year, and I actually got to do that one. But yeah, leading up to that race is when the idea came to me, like, hey, I know I like running with sour gummy candy. I know there's other runners out there who also enjoy it. I know that the issue with the candy is that I think it's stuck to your teeth, and it also doesn't have electrolytes, so you're having to get that from somewhere else. I think I could make this a thing, like, sour or sports nutrition that's designed to taste like sour gummy candy. And so obviously, Ben being the entrepreneurial one, I went to him and I was like, I have this idea. I wonder if we could make it work. And he loves this kind of stuff, like brainstorming, like obviously you have your own business, but like anyone in general, if you come up to him with an idea, he's like, let's do it. This is awesome. So he's like, yeah, like let's make this a thing. And I remember attempting to make a formula in my kitchen that involved Jello or gelatin and then like electrolyte powders and sour cream. It just was a disaster because gummies are actually very hard to make. Like, they're so tasty and delicious and an easy thing to eat. You wouldn't think about like how much science actually goes into, getting them to set and things like that. So yeah, I quickly realized that I wasn't going to be able to just whip a recipe up in the kitchen with at least the knowledge and skills that I had. And so us both being from Oregon found out about this food innovation program through Oregon State University. So basically, if you have an idea for food or like a food product that you want to elevate in some way, they're a great resource. So for us, it was like, start from square one product development. But if you're someone that sells jams at a farmer's market and you want to take it to the next level, maybe sell in stores or things like that, they'll help you get there. And they do everything from like product development to like marketing even. So they were so great to work with. And I definitely recommend them to anybody that is interested in starting their own food product. But yeah, they helped us with the formulation. And then that took, talking about, or going back early in our conversation, we talk about how long things take. That took us over a year and a half, going back and forth because we were still in Virginia at the time. So everything was, virtual meetings. It was them making iterations of the product, mailing it to us testing it, emailing them feedback, and back and forth until, we finally nailed down the formulation.
Do you remember the moment you tasted the product where you're like, this is it? This is what I pictured.
Yes. And it's so funny because I was a little worried there for the first couple of months. I'm not going to lie.
Right. You're like, okay, never mind. I guess this isn't going to work.
Yeah. The first iteration was not great. I was like, this tastes nowhere near a Sour Patch watermelon or a Sour Patch Kid. And not to like shame them or anything, but yeah, it definitely took a couple tries to like really nail it down. And Ben and I are so picky when it comes to flavors and things like that. Like, we wanted it to be perfect. But yeah, I remember like it took a couple of months, even like 6 months even. But then like when it finally was like, oh my God, it just actually tastes like sour candy.
Oh, yeah.
That was the coolest moment. Yeah.
Right. You're like, oh my gosh, we finally have something here. Yeah, that's okay. And so then this program that you went through at Oregon State, so they do all the marketing. So did you work with them when you're like, hey, here's our idea of what we would like to call this product? Here's like, did they take you through the packaging and all of that? Like, how did that all come together too?
Yeah. And actually, now I'm like really digging deep into the archives of my brain. I think we might have like done most of that ourselves. But I remember when we first started working with them, they gave us like a PowerPoint presentation of what it could look like. And then, here's inspiration for like what your brand could be. And but in terms of like coming up with the name Noogs and the color scheme and the jumpsuits and all that kind of stuff, that was definitely like something Ben and I like decided to do together. But I just remember it was an option if we wanted it, which was great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And did you pay for the food, like the product development itself? Like, how does that work? Or did you get a grant through the program that then helped fund that?
Nope.
No, you pay.
We put all our savings into making this a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Wow.
But we were like,
That's
you know what? We're young. Like we know that, like we don't have kids. Like this is something that we really want to make a reality. Like we're betting on ourselves, and if it doesn't work out, like we both were working full-time jobs, so we're like we
yeah.
can actually go back into our careers. But if not, that'd be so cool if it did work out, and it did, thankfully. So,
And here you go.
but
So you're both full time in Noogs now, 100%.
yes.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so fun, yeah. Very
Okay.
stressful.
So then, yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. And okay, now I want to talk about the jumpsuits first because I don't want to forget to talk about the jumpsuits just on their own because people who know me who are listening to this know that I love branding. So you can like see, so like I have my athlete bouquets business too. That's like edible arrangements, but for runners. And so I am like obsessed with anything that's my brand color. Just like we were talking about your water bottle. I'm like all about the colors and like just, I love it so much. Love it. Like if I go into a store and there's like stuff in my brand colors, I'm in trouble. Like you are clearly as well. So all that's to say, like, how did you find the jumpsuits? Because they're perfect.
I'm so glad you asked. So, okay, to set the scene, this was June of 2023. We were getting ready to debut Noogs. We weren't selling Noogs yet, but we were going to introduce it to the public at the Fancy Food Show in New York City, which is like, a convention where food products from all over the world come, and it's a great time. And another great thing with the Oregon State Food Innovation Program is they will give you a very discounted rate to be at the show, to have a booth. Like when you're there there's a little section, it's kind of like the incubator section of the expo where there's different programs like the Food Innovation Program through different universities and whatever. And so they're all there with their people who have their little food products, and you have your little booth. It's not as grand as some of the other ones, but hey, you're at the show and you're getting people from like Whole Foods or Target to come over and try your products. So it was a really great opportunity. And I think we had to pay like 1/5 of the fee that it normally is to get through Oregon State. So that was really cool. And so the issue is that we found a manufacturer, a very small manufacturer, to help us make our product, but their facility was like, something happened to where like we didn't have all the samples that we wanted to bring with us to this show. Like we only had 200. And mind you, this is a 3-day, I think it was 3-day event with like thousands of people coming in. And then, so yeah, didn't have a lot of samples to bring with us. And by samples, I mean individual gummies, 200 individual gummies, not
That's
even 200.
crazy.
And then we also had planned to have these like marketing materials, like, signs and like our boxes here, like we were going to have on the table. All of that was like delayed. So we were showing up to this huge show with like just ourselves, 200 samples and a dream. And we were even considering not coming because we're just like, we're going to look so stupid, right? But we were meeting with all the other people from the Oregon State program in like a, like a Zoom meeting or whatever. And we were talking to them about our concerns. And one of the guys was like, hey, you're a really fun brand. Because at the time, we knew that we wanted to be like fun and exciting and all that. He's like, what, you should get some like neon jumpsuits and have that be your icebreaker, like, fishing lure to get people to come to your booth. And so like, that's a great idea. And we went on Amazon and we found the jumpsuits. Like people always ask us where we get our jumpsuits from. We're like, they're just from Amazon. You can go place them right now too. So yeah, got the jumpsuits, wore them to the show, and they were actually, it was like the best thing that could have happened to us because all these people were coming up to our booth and all they wanted to know about was the jumpsuits. But then we also got to tell them about Noogs, and they loved that too. And yeah, like we were like, pinning out gummies individually. And then we started getting lower on supplies. We started cutting them in half, handing those out individually. And towards the end, we were cutting them into quarters and passing out little teeny tiny bites of Noogs for people to try.
Yeah. You're like, please, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But like, I'm so glad it worked out how it did. And like looking back, what I would tell myself was like, it's okay. Like you are brand new business. People aren't coming to the incubator section looking for people at the top of their game, right? Like they know all of us are just starting out. We're all going to make mistakes. And I would definitely still tell myself to go because I'm so glad we did.
Yeah. Okay. So how many of the jumpsuits do you own?
Okay. Probably 3 or 4 each. I always tell people when they ask about the jumpsuits, because I'm like, yeah, hey, you can buy some too. They're on Amazon, right? They're definitely, you can tell they're an Amazon product, not the highest quality. They, we'll get like rips in the seams and stuff. And so we're always kind of like replacing them as they fall
Yeah.
apart, because we'll wear those things for hours at a time, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, and
Okay,
that's a great
next.
reminder. Order some more for the upcoming
This fall season. Yeah, you do. That's so great. I know. And like, what happens if they ever stop making those? You're going to have to like chase down the random company that makes them, like, hey, please. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find somebody else at that point that will like make you custom ones.
Well, and the thing is, eventually we'll need to make like nice custom Noogs branded ones anyway. So
Yeah.
that'll be the sign to do it when that time comes.
And then eventually you'll be selling them at the booth as well with your branding on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could picture like running mantras like all up the sleeves of it. And that leads to my next question, which is, have you run in a jumpsuit?
Oh, I have not.
Okay. You have to do a race in a jumpsuit that says Noogs on it. You have to do it.
I should. You're right.
Yeah. How have you not? It'd be kind of miserable.
Yeah. Maybe like a 5K or a 10K. Right. Yeah. The thing is like we don't do a lot of races now. Like we go to so many races, and by that I mean the expos. But by like the time race day rolls around, we are like, I feel like I've already ran 3 marathons just from being on my feet all day at those.
Oh man. Yeah, I've been in that same boat, and I have a really hard time giving up the actual running of the race. So I still do it, and it's not great. It's really hard to do all the things, and like setting up and preparing for an expo, and then setting up and then doing it is like 3 marathons. It's so hard.
It really is.
Yeah. So, okay. So I just love the jumpsuits so much. I had to dig in a little bit more there because what a brilliant idea. They're so fun. I think it represents your brand so well. You should just give them to people. Be like, hey, we'll give you this jumpsuit if you run in it. We'll give you each flavor of Noogs. You can have a box of each flavor. You just have to run your race in our jumpsuit.
That's not a bad idea. If they have like Noogs across the back.
I mean, 100%. Do it. Yeah. Do it. Yeah, I'm like Ben, where I could brainstorm all day. Love it so much. I think, again, that's kind of what drew me to you guys. Okay, so then after the food show, so like, what was the outcome of the show itself? Were you expecting to get orders? Were you just like, we just need to get this in front of people to start conversations?
Yeah, it was mostly that, because I don't think we weren't selling them at the time. So it was just kind of like, it was like, here's what we're making. It was great networking. Like we met so many other entrepreneurs through that. We did get some contacts that were kind of more like, when you're bigger, reach out to us, But I think it was just the biggest part for us was just meeting other entrepreneurs, and there's people that we're like still friends with to this day, and it's cool to cheer each other on,
Yeah.
And I think it was also big practice too. Like it was the first time we were, forced to like stand up and talk to a bunch of strangers about what we were doing, which is our full-time job now, right?
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Oh man. Okay. So then let's fast forward to when you're after the show and then you're ready to start selling. Cause I realize our time, I want to be respectful of yours. And I still have other things I want to ask you. So, so at what point did you launch, and like, what did the launch look like? Was it just, you sold on your website initially, or what happened?
Oh yeah. So it was very anticlimactic at first, because we're like, okay, these are live, go on our website and buy them. And I think, we got a couple sales from like friends and family.
Yeah, totally.
There was a couple things that I feel like were really our turning point. I mentioned Ragged Mountain, the local running store here. We had to be very brave, and we were very scared, but we did it anyway. And we went into their store with our boxes of Noogs, and we're like, hi, we're locals to the area. And Ben was a student at the time. Ben's a UVA student. We have this product. Do you guys want to try it and sell it in your store? And they were so nice. Like, best case scenario, like the best, like these are the people you want to like be selling your product in your first store. So they agreed to start selling us locally. And then another bike store in town also agreed. And so, we had Noogs in some retail locations. That was really exciting. And then two other really big things happened for us. The first is that we got on Amazon, right? People love
Yeah.
that 2-day shipping. And then around the same time, I made a TikTok video, quote unquote. It wasn't even a video. It's kind of like a carousel on TikTok, right? Where you can scroll pictures. And it was just telling our story, like who we were, talking about me training for New York City, wanting something that tasted like sour gummy candy, but that was more made for performance. And that is like what really helped us explode. I say it was a viral video, quote unquote. It got like a couple 100,000 views, I think, but that was enough for us to sell out on Amazon. And then it kept happening. Like, I think as the video continued to get more views and as like word continued to spread, we just kept selling out. And so that is what made us realize, okay, we need to scale up our manufacturing. We need to go to a much larger manufacturer. We can make way more mini Noogs. And so we made that transition in early 2024. And actually, for most of 2024, we were sold out. Like, we finished selling out what inventory we had, and then we transitioned to the new manufacturer. So like from January, February, I think it was maybe March, actually, 2024 through November of last year, we weren't selling Noogs. And people were like, wait, when are you going to have Noogs back in stock? And we're like, what? It's taking much longer.
That would be so hard. Yeah, you're like, ah.
I know, because we thought it was going to be like a month, maybe 3 months max. But yeah, we had to like make our formula work for our manufacturer's equipment. So that took a little bit of back and forth, like, okay, sample, try it. What do you think? But I'm really glad we took the time. We were picky. We made sure everything was perfect. We also, during that time, developed 2 new flavors. So instead of just having watermelon, which is what we initially started with, we also added like the Wicked Apple, the Lemon Zinger. And what was really nice too is because we were using a manufacturer that could make Noogs in a much larger capacity, the cost went down to make them. And so instead of only having 1 serving like we were doing before, we could do 2 servings per bag, but the price didn't change that much. So we're like, okay, this is great. When we launch again, we can, add more value. We're going to have 2 new flavors. And so, yeah, we launched in November of last year with all 3 flavors, all these like little updates. And ever since then, it's just kind of been like we hit the ground running, and it's been nonstop.
Oh my gosh. Like, I just want to like jump and scream and cheer for you. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. I'm such a big fan of the product too. Otherwise I wouldn't have reached out to you, obviously. But how did you end up getting in touch with Bar and Nicole?
Yes. Okay. So yeah, relaunched in November, went to the Dallas Marathon in December of that year. And Bar Run Club had like a huge, or like kind of like, like a group run where people from all over, all of their chapters across the US run runners together. And they were so nice. Like, I had followed Nicole on TikTok. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, a celebrity is talking to me right now. And she's so nice and encouraging. And yeah, we love them. Like, they were one of like the first people that like just really championed us and cheered us on from the beginning, and still continue to support us today. And there's been so many instances like that. Like, I literally have goosebumps right now. Like, I can't believe that I'm here and like seeing how far Noogs has come in the last year, and like the kind of people we've been able to fuel, and like just seeing like people will send me messages that are like, oh, like I used Noogs for my first marathon, or like my first half marathon, or like I PR'd, and like it makes me emotional. It's so surreal, and yeah, it's the coolest thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to continue to cheer you guys on and be a champion here too. So hopefully I can help in some way as you continue this crazy journey that is so exciting. Outside of New York, what other races have you done, by the way, as an aside?
Yeah, so New York twice, technically. One virtually. I've done Chicago. I've done Jean Marathon, which is fun, being from Oregon.
Yeah.
And then Richmond Marathon a couple times too. And that is one of my favorite races. Speaking of, if you ever want to come learn more about Charlottesville, it's only an hour away from Richmond. So you can do that race in the fall and make a pit stop in Charlottesville. Yeah.
I would. Oh my gosh.
In October, right?
Yes. Marine Corps Marathon. I cannot wait, but I'm also really nervous. So I could talk to you for so long. I'm going to ask you the end of the podcast questions, but in that conversation, I want people to find out like where they can come, where they'll see you this fall, like what's coming up next for you guys and all that too. And so, okay, my 2 questions I ask everybody on this podcast. The first one is, what is your favorite running mantra and or song?
Ooh, can I answer both? You both?
Oh, and or. So yep, you get both.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Running mantra, it's always been this and will probably be forever, is every mile is a gift, because I just feel so lucky and happy every time I'm out there running, even if it sucks, right? Like, it's just, I have to remind myself, like, someday I won't be able to run, right? I hope I can
Mhm.
continue to run for the rest of my life, but in the meantime, I just gotta, take every mile as a gift. And then my favorite song, pump up song to listen to, is one of them is definitely it's called Yorktown, I think, from Hamilton. Are you like a
Okay.
Hamilton?
I wish I was. I'm not. I like musicals though, and if Nicole listens to this, she's gonna be mad. I think I told her that when that I'm not Hamilton, but it's because I've only
Okay.
watched the movie. I need to see Hamilton live, and then I
Yeah.
think that'll switch me over. So anyway,
Yeah.
no.
Well, they've got this song. It's about the Battle of Yorktown, and it goes so much harder than it needs to. Like, it's got like insane, like, the orchestra, and then they're like dropping a couple F bombs, and it's just, like, I get so fired up listening to it. And then
It's
what was
perfect.
actually really cool about that song is I've been listening to that song since my first marathon, right? Which was over 5 years ago. And I got to see it in New York City before my first real New York City marathon. Um,
Okay.
you know, that was really special.
Wow. Yes. That's really special.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next question is, what's your next finish line or milestone? So obviously we can talk about milestones as it relates to Noogs and finish lines too, as it relates to Noogs, because I want people to be able to come meet you if they're going to be at the races that you're going to be at this fall, et cetera. So
Mhm.
next finish line and milestone for you personally, and then also for Noogs.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to a couple different expos this fall, and can't say much quite yet, but we are coming out with some new flavors. So hopefully we will be sampling those at some of these expos. And so I think that's like definitely the new flavors is a finish line in itself, being able to like finally share those with everybody. There's one particular flavor that a lot of people have been requesting. And so
Mm,
I'm very excited for them to try it then. But yes, so these are the exos we're going to this fall. I can't guarantee that we'll have the new flavors out for most of these. Hopefully, at least one for example, we will be able to. But okay, here's the list. Coming up, we have the Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon in California. Then
fun.
yes, I'm so excited. And you know what's kind of
Yeah.
confusing is, so this is put on by Run Disney, right? Like Disney's running events program. Is they have the Halloween half in the beginning of September,
Oh,
and
right.
then have that wine and dine half marathon weekend in October, at the end of October, right before Halloween. And so why is the one like right before Halloween not their Halloween race? I don't understand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is
But
weird.
I'm
Maybe
excited.
because they don't want to compete with real Halloween. They're like, we don't want to compete with it. I don't know. That's weird. People would want
Like,
to do
what better way to
Disney.
celebrate Halloween than right
Yeah.
around the costume, right?
Right. I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done wine and dine yet, so maybe I'll like understand when I go there. But I do love Halloween, so I'm just really excited to like be doing two races basically. One's around Halloween time, one is an actual Halloween dedicated race, so that'll be fun. And then okay, so that's September. What's happening in October? Oh, wine and dine, like I mentioned. November, we're doing a lot of stuff with the Richmond Marathon. We're sponsors for that race. I'm a
Yay.
huge fan of that race, so that will be really fun. We're also going to be partnering with J&A Racing. We won't be at these expos, but we are on Course Nutrition for some of their fall races. So definitely go check out their website. And then after Richmond, December, we're doing the Dallas Marathon again. So hopefully we'll see Bar Run Club again. And I think that carries us through the end of the year. I feel like I might be missing some. But of course, follow us on our socials and sign up for our email newsletter so you can stay up to date with where Noogs is going and when the new flavor's dropping, of course.
Yes. And follow them on social because your branding and your content's great. So it's Noogs Official is your social media handle. And then I've got to get you to come to Indianapolis because I'm on the board for the Monumental Marathon in November. It's usually the weekend around New York. This year we're right before New York, I think, or right after, one of the two. And then for Richmond, Lindsay Hine, I don't know if you know Lindsay or have listened to her podcast before, but I'm now part of her like podcast family with SandyBoy Productions, and she is the MC at that event. So she'll be there. So you've got to meet her. So I'm excited to
Definitely.
connect you guys.
Yeah.
But this has been so fun. So much fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Talk with you.
Oh, this is great. And I can't wait to meet you in person at some point. When I was doing my research, I was looking to see if maybe they're going to be at Marine Corps. Maybe they're going to be at Marine Corps so I could meet them. But someday we will meet in person somewhere. Yeah. And I can't wait to see the new flavors. This will come out in at least a month or so. So we'll be getting closer to when the new flavors will be available when this comes out, at least. So it won't be so far away. Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this, Paige, and thank you for creating such an awesome product. And thanks to everybody who's listened, and happy running.
Happy running. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
If you enjoyed this episode of Finish Lines and Milestones from SandyBoy Productions, please let everyone know. A share, rating, and review would go a long way. Good luck again to everybody running the Chicago Marathon, and I will see you again next week.